Okay, welcome everyone to Treehouse meeting number 4. It's February 5th in Vancouver and February 6th somewhere in down under. So Treehouse, what is it? We are a community of Treepl partners, a lot of whom are formerly BC partners. And the intent of the Treehouse meetings and the Treehouse gathering is to bring this community together and talk about wins, losses, talk about new features, basically anything to do with Treeple. So just to kind of get you started today, if you have something to say, please say it. This is an open meeting today. Like, I want people to be involved, not just me talking or Adam talking or Alex talking. It's, try to get involved. We want to hear about, any cool features that you've seen. If anything new that you've been able to produce, please talk today. But if you aren't talking, make sure you mute yourself, because we don't want to hear the clicking and the coughing and all that in the background. And like I say, please feel free to just listen in the background, because sometimes just listening to my voice is very calming and soothing. So if you want to keep that going. All right. So today we got myself from A3 Creative, based in Vancouver. We have Adam from Logo Pogo in Australia. Peter Schmidt from Genie Core in Denmark. Peter, I'm sorry if I said that the wrong country. And Catherine from Scirocco Digital in Australia as well. So we're going to get started. Like I said, anybody have anything they want to share, introduce? The floor is yours. And I will cue the elevator music if I need to. Come on, somebody share. It can't just be me. Adam, do you want to start? Just to say something? Come on, guys. This is like a community thing. We need to make sure we get everybody involved here. So, awesome. It's dead silence here. All right. Well, I'll start. Just because, well, no one else is doing it. People feel scared. So this week, or actually last week, I launched 2 websites. So super stoked and excited to just kind of keep moving along. So I think I've said on Slack, I've down to 30 websites left on BC, which is great. Every time another site goes away, I feel even happier. But yeah, so just two websites that I've built. These are all sort of migrations from Business Catalyst. Let's see here. One was a container yard company in Vancouver, built using Bootstrap. We actually they were one of an old BC Gurus templates back in the day. So I kind of revamped the whole thing and changed it from Foundation to Bootstrap, and just kind of played around with a few little things. So it's not like, the most glorious website, because it's container yards and freight shipping and all that kind of stuff, but that's a new site that I launched. Another website that we launched is an IT company out of Vancouver as well. And this was a complete refresh. This was sort of my last website that I created on BC in March. So I had actually put comment tags throughout the entire site, knowing that I was going to move it elsewhere. So the migration for me was quite easy, but it still takes time. So I think this one ended up taking me about 7 hours to migrate through. So that's kind of my thing. I probably have 2 websites I'm launching this week, with another 2 next week. So while this is going on, we're still trying to sell new business and migrate old sites. So that's kind of our world right now. It's been long hours and weekends working and trying to just catch up. And hopefully eventually all we're doing is building brand new websites. So that's the ultimate goal. So I'm curious to find out, anybody in the room, what are you guys setting deadlines for site migration as an agency? Are you guys setting sort of like telling your clients, okay, we're not working with BC after a certain date, or are you waiting right till 2021? Adam, do you want to start? Alex, do you want to start?
Yeah, we don't have a specific deadline. Ours is just get it done as quickly as possible. Really, it's a combination of what features become available that allow us to migrate certain sites, and the time we have available, and we have a few other contractors that we kind of farm things out to. So really just as quickly as possible. I'm feeling pretty good about the whole process, though. I feel like we're making good progress. I'm feeling very optimistic as compared to even last September. Everything was still up in the air, and I feel like things are settling down. We're getting into rhythm. You know, we're kind of getting a couple sites a week, roughly live. So it's feeling good. Yeah.
Nice. I know for us, yeah, we've set a hard deadline of June of this year. You know, granted, I know it's probably not going to happen, but at least you kind of give a date to your clients, and at least people know. And you've been sending the emails, reminders, and we've also kind of been offering deals to people, because a lot of this stuff, I mean, you just can't, sort of not our fault that this happened. So clients are going to have to buck up at some point in time. Luckily, those clients that are that we're going to have to charge for either a site revamp or a full migration, there are guys that we haven't built out a websites for 4 years, kind of thing. So it's kind of it's a good opportunity as a refresh as well for a lot of our clients. But that's our goal, is June 2019. To be quite honest, I just don't want to work in 2 different platforms right now. It's got to be the one platform. So that's the goal. But I'm sure it'll probably extend right to September as well. So.
Aaron, how are you handling sites that you launched on BC in like the last year? Are you charging them for migration?
Good question. So the last two proposals that I did and were accepted, so that would have been February and March. I kind of built in that we were going to move it to a new platform, but at that time I didn't know. So it was part of the original proposal. So I blocked a chunk of time within that proposal to build out the site. So, and knowing, again, the way I did my commenting and everything and modules, like make sure you change this if you're going to a new platform. And it was all based on hoping that a platform was going to be based in Liquid. But yeah, I know I incorporated it into my proposal, which, I always have to go back. I'm like, oh, did we actually say in there we were going to migrate for free, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And yes. So luckily for us, it was only a couple. So, but it's kind of like February last year back. It's kind of, we have to charge people for it. So we're giving them good deals on it too.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming most people are doing the same thing. Adam, how about you?
Yeah, it's really just client to client basis to just gauge like where what needs to be done for their site. So a lot of migrations I'm trying to absorb the costs on, or have very low costs for, because I want to keep the client as well. I don't want them to jump ship somewhere else. So yeah, it's a tricky one to manage. But even I'm not really going back to the client, like keep reminding them about the situation. I'm just sort of keeping it low key, trying not to make it seem more than it is in their minds. So just the way I sort of ran things, I just manage things for the client. So I'd leave it out of their hands, and I take care of most things. So that's the way I'm treating this as well. I'll take care of it for them, and they don't really have to worry about too much. So.
Cool. Well, Adam, while we have you on here, why don't we get started on the review of the last sprint?
Okay, you want to do that first? Sure.
Yep, for sure.
All right. Just remember how to share my screen again. How come I can't find? Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so 3.1 release notes. So I was really happy to see paid events and payment through forms. Although in my very quick test, I couldn't actually get the payment to go through to Stripe. So hopefully that is working. But so the first one on the top here, we've got event groups and events. So basically the way they've done it is just set up events like any other module, which is really cool. So you know, like a blog, you would have your blog groups, and then or your individual blogs, and then your blog posts within those. So events are the same.
Hey, Adam.
Yeah.
It might just be me, but your screen share is frozen for me, kind of mid window retracting. Do you see the same thing, Aaron? Or are you seeing the screen share?
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing. It's kind of like warped. So yeah, maybe just stop screen share and then start it again.
Okay, it's probably like the animation. Okay, how's that now?
That's better.
Yeah, so just saying, like, how they've structured the events and groups, I think is good, but it might be a bit not that intuitive for if you're just coming in to look at it, because by default they've put it into list view. So any events you add are just sort of all showing in the root level, but you can actually switch it to tree view and create groups, event groups. So that might not be clear to everyone at first. But that's pretty cool to be able to do that.
Can we actually set? I haven't tried this yet, but can we actually set the parameters at the start that it sits in list view? Do you know?
I guess if you're on the Pro Plus plan where you've got access to the settings, you probably can.
Right.
But I think, yeah,
right.
Yeah. And the other thing I noticed with that too, like with the groups, if you edit that or create one, it's actually got all the fields like the event start date, capacity, price, so you can actually have an event on the group as well. So like the group could be an event that you book or pay for. Like that. So that's interesting. Okay, so then obviously then in the CRM, they've got the booking subscription. So if someone books this event, that goes through into the CRM, gets added as an item there. And this here just shows the flow that the system goes through, which I won't go through here, but you know, just what happens if this and that. Then the form events subscription validation. So this just shows how the system will validate the form subscriptions. So again, I won't go through that. And of course, I've added all the events, the booking subscriptions, and the orders. If paying for an order through a form, that's all in the user permissions and the menu configurator. So you can lock those down as well for the users. And then also in the component box. So if you're on a page and you want to drop in the modules for listing events, event groups. And even the subscription form, you can do that through the component box now. So, and the payment settings, obviously you've got to go through a gateway. So at the moment we've got Stripe. So that's pretty good. Like I said, I integrated both, or tried testing with the test Stripe account and the live Stripe account, and it didn't actually work for me, but it was only a very quick test, so I'm not sure if I did something wrong there. And then this just goes into the payment gateway options. So that's pretty standard, just follow the fields there. And then in the form builder itself, so I might just duck into here. So an event one. So obviously we've got the two fields now, the accept payment and accept event subscription. And I was happy to see that these were separate. So, you know, accepting payments through a form, you know, you can just do that outside of events. It doesn't have to be a paid event or anything like that. So that's cool if you have, you know, get your clients to pay online or anything like that.
Have you tested that yet, Adam? Just on the form only?
No, I haven't actually. I only did it
I'm going to test
both at the same time. Have you found problems with that, or?
No, I haven't actually used the event module yet. So
yeah,
I'm going to test that. Just with the form, just accepting payments is kind of cool.
Yeah, and it's pretty flexible. You can pretty much edit it all via Liquid and change all the settings and conditions and that. So here they're just noting what the form builder will add to the form. So just all the liquid code, it inserts all variables and things like that to. So when you're adding in the event form on a page, it will actually ask you for the event ID, so then it can pull in that event and get all the information from that event. It's all using Liquid like you would if you were doing it yourself. So you can go in and modify that if you need to, and really do some custom stuff there too, which is good. We've got access to all that. And again, it's just listing here all the code that it puts in for the payment side of things. So again, you can access all that. And then just mentioning here about there's additional JS and CSS files in the CMS assets directory now, obviously for the payments and events and other stuff. So that'll all get dynamically added to the page if you insert a form that needs that or whatnot.
Hey, Adam, just real quick, I want to ask, because I was looking at this. Alex, do you know if, or Vlad, do you know if these files are being added just to the page that have the form on them, or is it site-wide, the JS and the payment JS file and the main CSS file?
In the test I did, it was only for the page. No, it didn't do the whole site.
Yeah, we did. We split them all. So if your page has any form with reCAPTCHA v2 or v3 or payment, it will add JS for that functionality. So if your page has no any of these features, then no JS additional will be added.
Yeah, and I think there's a little note about that in the notes here about which one it adds. So yeah, and there's just also obviously making the mention that these assets or these files that Treepl are adding for functionality are accessible to us, so you could make changes to them, but note that Treepl are going to override those in subsequent sprints. So you need to make sure you're making your own overrides or additional files to that. So then we've got the payment processing logic. So this just goes through how the system works through the payment. So you can look through that yourself. And this one was cool. So obviously we've got a new system email for invoice now. And just listing here all the fields that we have available to use in there. Yeah, so the second one here, you can actually have custom invoices. So I suspect that this is, you'd have to set up, because you can't set up, let me just go in there. You can't set, under system emails, you can't create a new system email. So I assume it's a workflow email that you're creating to create a custom invoice. And then in the form, the submission form, you put a hidden input with the name and then the ID of the new workflow email that you've made. And then, so obviously that form would then use that invoice. So really you could set that up as a dynamic thing where you're sending out personalized invoices or custom invoices for every different event or, so that was a big deal. In BC, we only had the one invoice layout for everything, and that got a bit crazy. So this is really cool that we can do that. Set admin page title. So yeah, just in the admin, like I'm here now in workflow emails, and we can see in the title we've got workflow up there. So that just helps you navigate around when you've got multiple tabs open and whatnot. So that's cool. And reCAPTCHA v3. So that's awesome that we have that now. It should make the user experience a bit better on forms. I haven't played around with that one yet, but that should be good.
Just real quick on the V3. So I have tested it on a few sites. So far, no spam has come through, which is good. I'm just going to wait on it for a few days to see if there's anything coming through. But yeah, just to remind you, you can't use V2 and V3 together. That's obvious. So if you did have V2 in there with some scripts to an on submit script, just make sure you remove all that stuff before you use v3, because it's literally just a simple script file. That's it, and a hidden field.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, and I haven't played around with if you're doing validation and whatnot, if you'd have to change much there, but yeah, we'll have to work all that out. Okay, so then Adam added, yeah, so this is what you were sort of talking about before. It only adds the scripts that it needs for whatever functionality is required. So it's just not going to dump everything in the page if you have something. It seems like it's selective on what scripts it adds dynamically. Then there was a fix in the sitemap generator just to properly use the release and expiry dates, only if they're actually enabled for that module. We had some updates to the Liquid version. I think mainly it's really just this top section here. So the divide by filter is working now with floating values. And the sort filter is working properly now, or as expected. There's 4 additional filters that have been added. The sort natural, which I think it mainly just sorts without being case sensitive, and a few other little things that just make sorting a bit more intuitive. And the other 2 are format date, handle, and handleize. Now I'm not actually sure how to use these. I can't really find any documentation on the Liquid docs for that. But I assume the date formatting is something to do with formatting the date, but I'm not sure how to use that. And the handle and handleize, Vlad might need to explain those because I think they're a bit more on the technical side. But so overall, I think it's just the update to those issues there in the Liquid. So the empty custom menu. So if you're using the menu configurator and you don't have any items in there, there was the admin's just going to redirect you back there all the time to try and get you to fix that issue, I guess. Add data source name and data source URL. So this is a good one. If in a custom module, if you've got a data source field to link to another module, previously we only had the ID to work with in the data. So you had to do some extra looping and that to get any information about that item. So, but now we have the name of that linked item and the URL that we can use. So that's pretty cool. And the author image. So if you're having an image in the author module, they've just converted that to a proper media field now rather than text. Now the search custom module by parent ID and URL. So this one had me a bit stumped. I wasn't really sure how to implement this or where it would come into play. But I think it's just an enhancement on the search functionality on what fields we can search for. Has anyone played around with this part? Or?
Well, I've used the prop in the Ajax filtering just for data source fields. And it seems to work. I haven't actually tried this, but it makes sense. The same sort of concept, I'm assuming. So.
Okay, right. Okay, then we had the, so just when you're creating a new module, the button becomes inactive. So just a user UI thing. Then 4 bug fixes. So with the changes to the gallery, with the Lightbox implementation, so the layout now correctly renders all the code that's required there. There was an issue there, I think. And there was an issue where logging into the admin, the page just kept spinning without loading properly. So hopefully that looks like that's fixed. And there was an issue where if you use capitals in creating a page in the file manager or FTP, you wouldn't be able to edit that then in the admin. So it's just a case sensitive issue there. That's fixed. And a liquid engine recursion fix. So I'd never came across this one, but yeah, it's just in the menu layouts, you could cause some recursion issues with certain ways of looping. So that's fixed as well. Right, that's the release notes.
Nice work, Adam. Hey, just real quick, I forgot to mention at the start, if anybody has any questions, please put them in the chat. We'll try to answer them near the very end there. So Donna from our team is taking notes. So just write them in the chat, and we'll hopefully get them answered near the end there. Cool. So Adam, you were going to go through the a web app, BC web app, sorry, BC blog to Treepl migration.
Yeah. I'm going to kick that off now.
Yeah, might as well. And you got to do it in 1 minute. Just kidding.
I've got a ridiculous amount of windows open. Just bear with me. Let's do that one. Okay, so I hadn't actually worked in BC blogs for a while because I sort of more went to the web app way of doing blogs. So when I came back to an older site to migrate that had a regular blog in it, I just figured, it's pretty straightforward. We'll just export the blog and import it in. And then I quickly realized that BC doesn't have export for blogs. So then I thought, okay, the RSS feed, I think people were using that. So I had a look at that quickly, but it was pretty messy. And I found that it only output the last 30 posts. And I couldn't see any way to get more than that. So that was a roadblock. So it had me stumped for a little bit how I was going to get all the blog items out. And I'm not sure how other people have dealt with this at the moment, but I just fell back to a method that I'd been using to pull data out of BC for clients, like to create custom reports on other things and all sorts of things like that on the front end. So I used that here to get blogs out, and it worked out really quick and easy. So I just thought I'd share that here for everyone in case anyone's coming across the same issues with getting blogs out, because I certainly didn't want to go through each one and copy and paste everything. Basically, I'll just, this site's really old, so I'll just show you what it did look like. This was their blog. It's got recent posts, the archives, and they're just listing all their articles down the page. So pretty old, it's not responsive or anything like that. But I'm not going to go into like migrating the design and the code, the styles and stuff like that. I'm just talking about the data here, getting that out of BC and into Treepl. So how I'd approach it is we basically just, so I'm using module data to pull out all the data. You can actually use the regular blog module, but it's limited with tags and categories, I think. So that's why I chose to use module data. And I packaged that up in a nice little script, so if anyone wants it, we can share the download. And it's really easy to modify for your site. So if you haven't used module data before, and then don't worry about that sort of thing with this. So what I did basically was set up just a dummy page. Okay. Again. So I just created a dummy page. I've just called it output. And you'll note I haven't applied any template to this. So I just want it to be raw information. I don't want any styling or anything like that. And basically, so I've got some notes here at the top for, like, if you're using this, you can go through those, but I'll come back to those notes. But basically what we're doing is just using module data to get the blog resource. Obviously just pulling out all the fields that we need for Treepl. And then I'm just rendering that out as a table. And I'll preview the page so you can just see what it looks like. It's probably the easiest way. So this takes a little while to load just because it's pulling in a fair bit of data, but basically we just get something like this. Because I figured you don't actually need to export something as an Excel file or a CSV or anything like that. You can actually just do your own custom front-end rendering into a table, and then simply copying that table into pretty much any spreadsheet application will convert it into a spreadsheet. So you can just save that and import that into Treepl. So what I did is set up my own custom table, and this is in the exact format that Treepl needed. So it's even better than a BC export, because BC export's how it lays the data out, whereas doing it this way, we can actually format it into Treepl's import template straight off the bat, so we don't have to really do any extra manipulation there. So you can see how I've pulled out all the fields that Treepl require. The grey columns are just ones we've hard-coded because they don't correlate with BC's data. So blog posts didn't have expiry dates. Excuse me. Blogs didn't have weighting, so we're just putting in zeros. And obviously the template ID, we need to change that to Treepl's ID. So I've actually changed that in my code. So this is the my Treepl template ID, and I'll show you how to adjust that if you're going to use this code as well. And obviously created by a member ID, that's a Treepl feature only. We didn't have member, like user, just didn't submit blog posts. And then the author, so in BC, the author is by name. Well, either way, if you get the ID of the author or the name, it's not going to obviously correlate with your authors in Treepl, because they're going to have different IDs. But Treepl actually need the ID of the author when you import that in. So that's why this one's in red here, and I've got that in a note just to highlight that you have to do like a find and replace. So just make sure you note any authors you create in Treepl, note their IDs, and then just do a find and replace in your spreadsheet to change the names to IDs. But other than that, it's all there ready to go. And you can so I might just demo that now, just select all, copy, and I've just got a Google Drive spreadsheet here, and just see it just all comes in. So obviously we do a find and replace, and then just download that as a Microsoft Excel file. And then in Treepl, so you can see I've done this before. That's the blog, and within there, loads. Okay, I think it's logged me out of here too. I'll just log back in. Yeah, so when I did this previously, you can see all the posts have come in, that's fine, all worked well. But just for the demo, I'll just set up a new blog, just very quickly. We'll just call it test. Okay. Then go into there, you can see there's no items. And then I'll just import that file. Oops. Now I didn't change the user ID, but I think that'll be okay for the test. The author ID. I think the video is slowing down my internet here. Okay, and you can see everything's come in. We could even preview that blog. Preview the new one. This isn't finished yet. We're still working on the design, but you can see all the recent posts have come in, all the tags are working, and the images will load here in a minute. It's just slow. Got all the posts, so that's all come in fine. And I think that's the power of doing it in this way, because you can use Liquid to format this export exactly how you want it. So, yep.
The tags that you had rendered on the Treeple blog, the one you just uploaded, the one you just previewed.
Yep, I'm just trying to get to my tab, but the screen sharing thing's in the way.
I think it's the one next to that.
Yeah.
It had a list of tags. Is that dynamic? Like, so if a client adds more tags, they're just going to dynamically add it there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, this is in the docs demo site. I've got some code for doing this, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, so it'll dynamically add that. It also works for categories as well. And we can do like an archive based on month. Yeah, so thanks to Alex too for helping with that code. But that's all on the docs demo site and all accessible. So yeah, so this method, I don't know if I'll run through how this code's all working, but basically, if you want to use this code, all you need to do is adjust these two Liquid variables to put in your BC blog ID, so it pulls in the right data, and your Treeple template ID, the content page template that you want to use for the blog post. Just get that ID and put in, and that will populate everything in the export. So really, the only two values you need to adjust. And I've just got notes here to go through all those grey columns and replace the authors with ID and that sort of thing. But this method of using module data to format your own table, or let's just call it a spreadsheet file, basically, you can use that for lots of stuff in BC. So if you find the export isn't quite right, or is lacking something, or is not available, then you can use module data to get a lot of stuff. And BC's actually opened up a lot more of, or some more of their APIs. So there's more access to the system than what you might have seen if you were developing on BC previously. So there is more data there to get. Yeah, so I think that pretty much covers it.
There was a question, it looks like it was answered in the chat, about the date formatting, like bringing over BC dates versus into Treeple. I haven't run into any issues with the dates. It seems to just convert everything over, no problem. So.
Okay, well, just here in that column, so I'm getting the release date and I'm formatting it with Liquid, so how Treeple want it. So yeah, that's what I mean. You can manipulate the data exactly how you need it, all in here with Liquid in BC, so that it spits it out exactly right.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Adam.
It's really good, Adam. It's way better than the way that I was doing it.
How are you doing it? Like just copying and pasting? Or?
I was just dumping out the JSON, and then I found a site that does JSON to Excel or CSV conversion online.
Yeah.
And then I would just dump it in there and then save it out, but there were always lots of errors. So.
Yeah, I tried doing that too, but all the sites I went to didn't accept the JSON was giving me. So yeah.
I managed to make it work, but your way is much cleaner, much better.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, you can use this for other areas in BC too, so it's quite versatile.
So we have 20 to 25 minutes left. We have Alex from Treeple is going to be talking for about 10 minutes. I'm just going to go through my little feature here, and then we'll hand you over to Alex after. So, so what I'm going to be talking about is Open Graph. So, you know, the Facebook, LinkedIn is using Open Graph to output images, content, and different protocols through their social channels. So, in case anyone's using it, you probably should, especially if your clients, allowing your clients to actually add their proper images to their social channels if someone's sharing a link from their site. So it works for clients, but also if one of their customers is sharing a link from your client's site, that it's going to open an actual image and the proper information in Facebook as well and LinkedIn. So I will just share this screen. All right, so working with Open Graph, this is my workflow with respect to Open Graph. I kind of usually get my pages set up first, and then start copying over everything. So I get my SEO title, my meta description, but I'll take my SEO title and I will just copy it down into the title tag. The type, so a lot of the stuff you can find online, just look at all the different Open Graph protocols and tags. But a type could be a website page, or it could be an article, or it could be food. It could be anything that you want. There are set types that are out there. From what I gather, you can actually create your own, but it's a little bit more complicated. But I just stick with website. The URL, of course, just use your canonical URL. I'll just copy it from here. The locale, so for me, it's English Canada. So you could be in Quebec in Canada, so maybe it's FRCA, or wherever you're from. Just make sure you put your locale. That's more from a regional locale point of view. And then you also have the ability to actually add your own card as well, or I call it social card. So Facebook recommends minimum 1200 by 630 pixels. So you can kind of take an image, put whatever you want. If you have a generic image for the entire site, rather than putting it page by page, you can put a generic image. But what's good about this is you can actually do it at the page level. So if you had a particular image that somebody shared the link from that page to Facebook or to LinkedIn, you could define your own sort of image. It's a little bit harder to create your own images when you're sharing links in Facebook and LinkedIn now. So this helps that part. So again, 1200 by 630 minimum. And so once you have it all in here, just hit save. And I use this tool called iframely. So if I want to, I'll just go back to the debug here. So I'll go to the iframely, and then you can also check Twitter cards as well. So if you're using Twitter cards, so I'll put my link in there. And if you've done it correctly, everything should show up here. Your OG title, your Open Graph title. Description, you'll see I have description in here, even though there is no description field here. I've had to manually create my own description field here. I just threw it at the bottom of my header scripts. So I'm just grabbing the meta description for now. Oops, let me get that down. I'm getting there. Anyways, this is the one thing we should look at. I can't seem to get to the last line here. It's always the scroll bar is always in my way here. Yeah, so I'm just copying my meta description for the actual Open Graph description. Here's your type, your locale, and if you've done it correctly, then your image will show up here. And so what this does is, if you're using LinkedIn and you wanted to add this link, it will show that image and it'll show the title as well. So I think LinkedIn opts out of the description. I think it's mostly Facebook that does it. I don't really use LinkedIn too often, but that's what that is for. Is anybody else using Open Graph or Twitter cards? No, definitely useful because, like I said earlier, one of your customers might be sharing a link, and you don't want to have this to be a blank image or a random image that Facebook picks up on. You want to be able to set a proper image. And just a reminder, I'm always conscious about site page speed load. Is always just take your images, throw them into something like Tiny PNG, which compresses your images nicely, and away you go. All right, so I was going to, we're looking good for time here. So I was going to just quickly show you, I've had a few requests for the how to handle documents, so similar to media downloads. And I know I've shown this a few times, but I'm just going to go over it again. But I'm also going to share the, I've actually created just this snippet. It's in rich text format. I will share it on the in the chat for everyone. So all it is I'm basically using font Awesome 5. So I've created these variables in my documents folder, or properties. So I am using PDF or Excel or Word, and basically saying if this icon equals PDF, then create a capture. So I'm going to use FA capture as my variable, and then output this font awesome code, or output this font awesome code if you're using Excel. And so then I just take this variable, this capture variable, and I just throw it down below here. So it's going to output that link or that icon based on the based on this. So like I said, I just created a quick little rich text for you guys. It's just in my sync folder. Give me 1 second here. And I just said in here, you know, a lot of this you can actually put into an include file as well, like a .inc file, or you can just leave it on your page as well. So anyways, for those that needed that code, I put it in the chat, so you can just download that link. And yeah, so we're ready to go, Alex. It's all your court now.
Hi, everybody. Thanks a lot. Well, let's get started. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I'd like to start with stating that it's been quite a journey now, and it's time for some evaluating of our results. And version 3.1 was a huge milestone for our team. We had this Canadian data center and payable events were very key features. And I know that we promised payable events and the Canadian data center to several newly signed partners back in the fall. And for us, it was a huge milestone because we have accomplished a lot of work for infrastructure with version 3. And version 3.0.1 was an update, a big update to a newly created infrastructure. And creating a Canadian data center was, we were able to do that thanks to that huge amount of work that our team has done during the version 3.0. So we have spent the first several weeks of January, the second week after we launched version 3.0, we have spent some good time on looking around, and we have been doing a lot of research and consultation with the Treeple partners. We did a lot of analysis and spoke with Treeple partners, BC partners that are still are not on board with us. We have thoroughly analyzed our competition, and we have two great achievements that we acknowledged as a result. Well, first thing is we have the very best solution for BC partners as an alternative, and we're extremely ahead of all of our competitors, which is great, and we're extremely proud of the results, and our team has done an amazing job. And second great achievement is we have an extremely awesome community and living community. We do have a lot of contributors and people, very active partners. So I'd like to thank you all, and thank you to the Treehouse organizers and all the people that contribute in Facebook and Slack and here. And I know you guys have work to do on migrations and the new builds and stuff, but you still have time to do all these things. So we'd like to thank you, and we hope that the journey that's ahead of us is even more exciting. So so now back to some evaluating our results. So our community and demands of the community has very much changed since we started. So we started last week of July was when we started to invite Treeple partners. So your main concern in July, August, correct me if I'm wrong, was I hope they would deliver those features, at least some, because we have presented the very first version of Master Plan. And part of our analysis in January was I have set up meetings with, I have sent out invitations for a personal session to every Treeple partner, and so far I've done about 20 sessions, and I have 5 more scheduled at least for this week. So, and it's been 20 plus hours of conversations with the Treeple partners, former BC partners, discussing our work and our results and our future. So I don't believe that that concern that we had, that you guys had in July and August, is here still. And so I don't think it's your concern anymore for those who chose Treeple CMS as an alternative to BC. We believe that getting integrated with the new system is the #1 concern for Treeple partners. And there's another concern number 2, a well-known one, and that is migrations. So I'd like to give you some numbers, some research from the research that we did. I don't know if you use this site, but let me send you a link in the chat. Where's the chat? Okay. So we did some analysis, and taking these numbers, there are still 45,000 websites on BC. These numbers, we believe, are underestimated by our calculations by at least 10,000 BC sites. As you can see, Australia has it says that Australia has at least 9,000. There's several ways how we were able to define that. At least the sites that are the sites that have their domains not hosted with BC, not all of them are, we think are counted here. So our calculation is that there are still at least between 45 and 55,000 BC sites still on the BC servers. Now, we did a lot of work to find out how many sites can Treeple host, for how many sites Treeple can be replacement. And we did have to spend some good time and efforts to find that out. And right now we can, without exaggeration, we can state that at least 50% of sites that are hosted on BC can be migrated to Treeple if there was an easy migration solution. Now, there are small little differences, but the adaptation would go well and easy for those at least 50% of sites, both for Treeple partners and for the end users, especially if we consider other alternatives out there. Now, I'm very careful with that number, and to be not exaggerated. And once again, I'd like to state that we did put some great effort into getting that number confirmed. So we did simple calculations. If if it's between 45,000 sites and 50,000 sites, there were 77,000 sites, and it has been mentioned, and we believe that number is correct. So most simple sites are gone, and they went to systems that have a very low learning curve, that have a lot of software-based tools, and basically those are just simple sites with basic sites, for sure sites, and with some few dynamic elements. So typical BC sites with web apps, Liquid, CRM, and events combination are still there. That's what we believe, and there's no single alternative for those sites besides one. This is what's coming from our observations and our very, very deep analysis. So we did our own calculation, and if we take at least 10,000 sites and aim to migrate 10,000 sites from BC, we would need to migrate at least 13 sites a day to Treepl, making them live. So making 13 live sites a day that are migrated to BC to Treeple CMS until BC EOL event, so until Adobe shuts down their servers. So we need that, including weekends. We need to do that in order to migrate 10,000 sites. So that remains a big concern for Treeple partners, for ex-BC partners, and for us as well as a CMS provider. So in light of those of these changes and these observations that we have, we would like to change our strategy. And since you guys have, we think, and we see that you have little different expectations, we would like to change some of our strategy and some of our plans, and I'd like to present those to you today. I also would like to mention that Treeple community has differentiated into several groups, at least two. What I noticed is in the beginning, everybody was pretty much equal with their expectations, and the expectations were the same for everyone. They just wanted the alternative, so the learning curve would be easy, and the adaptation for Treeple partners and for end clients would be smooth. So right now we have about 50-50. 50% of Treeple partners are still waiting for things and for certain features or for something else, maybe for some alternatives. And 50% of Treeple partners are active, and some of them are very active. So, our community has, and those two group of partners have different demands. So we would like to lean more towards those guys who are active and building new sites and migrating sites, because they have more experience with end clients, and their feedback is more relevant. So let's get to the changes that I'm having here in front of me. So let me share my screen. So the first change that we have is, I have this, is a Treeple forum. So this has been requested many, many times. We finally found a platform that suits us, and that's hosted on our servers, and we have total control of everything. Thanks to contributing partners, Alex Bell in particular, for helping to prioritize that. And so here it is. We basically analyzed the tickets from support and subjects that are mostly discussed in Slack and Facebook group, and we categorized, created categories, so you guys can use those to navigate through forum and ask your questions. So we would like to, basically everything that's discussed in Slack and Facebook, we would like now to forward it to here, so it would be searchable for newly arrived partners and the users and the agencies that use Treeple to build sites. So the link is, the URL is simple. It's forum.treeple.co. I'll paste this. So please register. There's no special way on registering comparing how we had it to treeple.co site. Let me put the link really quick. If I find the right. Okay, I can't find chat. If somebody could please paste that. Okay, I found it. So this is the forum. You can also access it through our website. It's in the footers in case you get lost, if you lose it. So this is the first. This is, by the way, is responsive. So we made sure, and we tested out. So we made sure it works on your mobiles and it's really convenient. Where's it? Log into the Treeple site. Yeah, you basically create your login here on your own. We'd like to say that this forum is moderated by Treeple staff and by Treeple partners as well. So this is the best place to get help with Treeple CMS if you're working on migrations, if you have issues with going live, and if you need, if you're looking for updates and documentation and system releases, and if you have any questions on how to implement in Treeple CMS, we have custom modules in a separate category, so all the questions and custom modules are here. Yes, thanks Alexei for pointing that out. I think we need a couple more days for Facebook, Google, Twitter login to be integrated, so you could use your Facebook, Google, or Twitter accounts. So we also have separate category for public backlog. Now let's move forward with. Also, I would like to ask you guys to use, for consultations, to use forum and instead of support, because in support sometimes we give extensive answers and they just we just have to repeat them every time. The same thing happens in Slack and Facebook. So we would sometimes refer you to post your request in the forum. So whether our staff or any Treeple partner that knows the solution would reply. So we'd like to keep that information available for everybody in the future. Will the forum eventually be searchable? I think it's already searchable. So it's actually pretty powerful. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Thanks, Adam. Okay, so we're having so if you have any feedback on forum, we have resources that work on that and available for it. So we're going to be updating that pretty quickly. So the more you guys post here now, the quicker we would respond and organize things better. And I would like to thank Adam and Alex for helping to get things together and give us feedback for that. So the next thing is master plan. This is probably the thing that you probably already started looking at it and the changes in there. So we now have 5 versions instead of 4 versions, and a lot of things that we removed from here. So version 4 is pretty simple. So we would like to, there are only one feature is FTP and content templates, that a major feature, so to speak, but we would like to spend, to focus now on the improvement of existing features to improvement existing features and functionality that active Treeple partners and end users use. So there are 92 items in the public backlog that we need to be prioritized, and we need to some of them need to be implemented pretty soon. So we now want to get your end clients and you, active Treeple partners, to get settled with Treeple and become more confident in it. I think we have proven to Treeple community that we're capable of delivering features. And as you can see, in every version, we tried really hard to add features that BC missed. So we always try to overperform as much as possible. So right now, we think it's really important to concentrate on improving existing features and make sure that the transition goes well for you and for your end clients. I'd also like to state that we have also noticed that we're have entered that next phase that's new for us, where we're getting feedback from end users. And that feedback looks very, very different than feedback from Treeple partners, because you guys are more anxious on getting that stuff done, because these are now your end users and you don't have that much patience, especially for those who they make their first migrations and make their first experience migrating sites and getting their first feedback from the end users, their clients, about the new system. So we don't want to neglect that, and we want to make sure that those guys would really consider Treeple as an upgrade from Business Catalyst. And I'm sure that those guys, those Treeple partners that are not active and are waiting for e-commerce to arrive, you guys would benefit from that as well, because next modules that we're going to build, we would arrive into a more refined system and functionality. Now let's go to public. For the version 5, we have set the most pessimistic scenario. So it would be September. If things go well, if things go super slow for some reason for us, we may delay it a little bit more. But we were considering even this forecast, the September, if we didn't have any new partners sign up, if we just remain with the existing community. I also would like to state that the number of sites that you are carrying is more than enough on BC and are willing to migrate to Treepl, is more than enough to have Treepl to keep Treepl self-sustainable system where it pays for itself. So, it appeared as very important information for some of you. So let's move to public backlog. If there are any questions. No, there are no questions.
Alex, just one quick question. I see there's no native comments. It was on the original pricing. Is that still happening?
Well, the thing is, we noticed there are not many people. We didn't notice that on any of the sites that we built and that were sent to us for migrations. It's not a big thing to develop, so we decided if it's not on many BC sites and it's not that hard to develop, we would just throw it into public backlog and we would understand if it's needed by basically voting activity. Is it something that's important for you?
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 sites that use it, but yeah, rarely.
Okay.
So I've just been having to do workarounds, and if need be, I'll just use Discus. But I just
but development-wise, it's not that hard. Like, let's say compare CRM records and migrating those. That would be a bigger challenge.
And sorry, the last thing is I see it says payable events, items, and forms. Does that mean custom modules? We have the ability to do payable custom modules?
We whether have that or it's coming soon, but I would like to just ask Vlad to confirm on that.
Because I know it's forms and events, but items meaning that custom modules, that's all.
Are you here, Vlad?
Yeah, basically for custom modules to be paid, the only thing that you won't need is just payable form. So you can just create a model, custom model, create a form that will accept payments, and as described in the release notes, you can just put the form tag and place the price of the price for that form based on the web app of the module item price. Or you can do the same thing as we do with the event. So if you see the code, you will see that the price of the event is taken by its ID.
Perfect.
So just replace the event type to your custom model name, and that's it.
Okay. So should I go on? So as you can see that we didn't plan any new features for version 5. So with version 5, we would like to close the BC functionality. And this year we will just do that for feature-wise. As you can see, there's nothing here about the migrations. So starting this week, we have already started to work through some of our major forces into migration. I'll be honest, we stopped working on the automating migration tools back in November because we were very, very loaded with the development work. So we would like to, because we have that concern with the sites and the number of sites we need to migrate, we are started to work heavily and throwing a lot of resources into working on the migrator. And we did some consultations already with some of you guys that work on migrations a lot. And we don't want to promise anything and show and tell you guys how magically it's going to work and the wonders it's going to bring to the community and stuff. We would like to have some working version first, have it tested and approved by several Treeple partners that have some good amount of experience with migrations already. And after that, we would like to present you the solution. We understand your challenge. It's really hard for you to price those migrations, and especially for sites that are freshly built on BC. It's really hard to justify the cost and stuff. So we keep in mind all the challenges that you guys have. Thank you for sending all those sites for review. That really helps us out to understand the picture. So we're going to do our best to offer the very, very best solution. I must say that whatever we offer, it will be something that will gradually improve from your feedback, and we will get more and more resources involved in that. So migration, let's move to public backlog. This one had a big change, and we consulted with Peter. And once again, thanks Peter for doing a lot of work on that. So we would like to, so here it is. Now it's a little bit different, as you can see, the design has changed. So you have your votes as you did. Okay, I got logged out. Oh, thank you. So you can still the voting works pretty much the same. You can vote and it subtracts from over here. So as you can see, the e-commerce is not number one. So we have removed features that don't really need voting, that are already scheduled and that are already in our master plan. So, and we put those items in the very bottom. There's a new section called scheduled. So this text over here, I just forgot to modify that. That's a lorem ipsum Ukrainian version. And don't just neglect that. But here are these already scheduled items that don't require any voting. So we already scheduled those. As you can see, you already can see features that are coming in the next sprint. So calendar support for events, for example. This is e-commerce and Treeple API integrations. This is from the master plan. Event CRM, custom reports. So this feature over here is coming in February 27 next sprint. This feature is coming in February 27. By the way, this is a good example of feedback from the end clients. So the end clients want the BC experience of how they manage links and in the WYSIWYG editor. So please take a look at that. This one is this is the new one, but it's, oh my gosh, did we have that scheduled for February 27? I didn't know that. Yeah, so please take a look at that one. But the voting now becomes more important for us, and your activity in voting becomes more important for us, because we need to know now what features are most important. So, and those most voted features would eventually arrive to the system within the next 2 months, within those next 5 or 6, at least 5 or 6 sprints. Now, if you would like to suggest new features, by the way, we have delivered 86 features so far, which is great. And if you have noticed, we do try to, if you look at the latest release notes, and Adam has also went through the features, we do add a lot of stuff that is not in the public backlog. So we try to do as much as to throw as much as we can into every sprint. So now if you'd like to suggest new feature, when you click that, you'll arrive to forum, and we have a separate category for that. And the reason for that is because we want more refined items, refined suggestions arrive to public backlog. So right now, if you have an idea, just submit it, and then it's been discussed in Slack, and some great ideas of that discussion just lose there. So now we decided to try it differently, and Peter is fine with that idea. So all the discussion, everything is discussed in forum, and if it gets enough replies and likes and so on, enough activity, if the feature gets that enough feedback, so Peter takes it to the public backlogs, and everybody can vote for that. We're also going to work on the notifications, so whenever there's a available vote, there's a free vote for you. So whenever the feature goes to being processed or delivered, you get your vote back. You'll get an email notification that you got your vote. Please make sure to use it. So we also have went through all the features. We have removed some. So the 92 features that are there are requests. Some of them are minor, some of them are major. These are that we are capable of doing. So we approved them as CMS providers that we are able to, at some point, to deliver those to Treeple partners, depending on what we just need to know the order and the priority of those features. Now that's it for the public backlog. We also like to I'd like to thank Adam for doing a lot of work for documentation, and it seems like this is a perfect timing, and thanks for being focused and delivering more and more stuff in documentation. And I know that's very important for Treeple partners, and we're going to make sure we give enough Adam of everything he needs to have relevant, organized, and full documentation with video tutorials available. Also, a quick announcement on hosting support channel in Slack. We're going to close that since we have support now, so that's going to go away. So if you require urgent attention for your site, please submit a corresponding ticket through Partner Portal. So our admins will receive an immediate notification and will respond accordingly. So you don't need to worry about that. So so we're going to stop that tomorrow, I think. And also, I had this one thing that came to my mind when I was listening. So I noticed that people are not too vocal. In fact, I had a session with one Treeple partner, early adopter, and I know he has some great success in selling migrations, and we did migrated a pretty big website for him, and he has some material for selling migration from BC to Treeple as an upgrade and stuff, and I think he shared that with Ryan. I think he told me he would come to this meeting and show the site and share his experience, but he didn't come. So we do have access, thankfully, to witness every live site that goes to on Treeple. We also have access to Treeple trial sites that are about to go live, and we're extremely excited. That's where we see the true progress of the CMS. It's really unfortunate that you guys don't see that, and trust me, the picture looks very, very, way more exciting from our end. So the idea that we had would probably, what if we, in Partner Portal, what if we add a showcasing functionality? So when you make a site live, you get an option of showcasing the site to exclusively Treeple partners in Slack, or you allow us to post it in Treeple on Facebook. We do a separate section in Treeple forum, with sharing some experience and things like that. So if you guys like that idea and you're willing to show that, I know that Aaron is sending us sites for showcase every time, which is a great thing. Thanks a lot. For the majority of partners, we have to pull it out from them, and some sites are really big. Some of them even have events already in place, and yeah. So if you're interested in that, please let us know, and we're probably going to throw that into some sprint to update a Partner Portal and give ability for Treeple partners to share their success and their results. That's it on my end from me. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm sorry I took more than 10 minutes.
So we are coming on to the end of the meeting here. So, and I'm looking at chat right now, and it's pretty quiet. So I think we'll probably, unless anybody has any questions, we will end this meeting for today. Going once, going twice, and I am stopping recording.